I think it's pretty safe to say that the music is one of the most important characteristics within the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, other than the actual characters, of course. James Gunn truly takes music into consideration just as much as his characters, and it's why the music is such a shining component in all of his films. I mean, he cooks when it comes to music. Obviously, he cooks in general, so much that people already have David Cornsweet in a Superman uniform as their profile pic. We're 2 years away from the movie. And I have made a video in the past about the music in previous Guardians movies, but this one's special. In this one, I want to break down what exactly makes the soundtrack in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 so good, and why its connection within the film managed to bring out so many emotions for so many of us. And if you love the Guardians, please consider subscribing. Each sub equals, I don't know, a Batista bomb to the High Evolutionary.
Unleashed, thumbs up, thumbs down. You know what that means? Here comes a Batista bomb.
Creep is one of the most famous songs on the entire track list, probably the most famous. It's a classic Radiohead track, but this time it's an acoustic version to kind of match the tone of this opening and kind of the vibes. The lyrics here clearly represent exactly how Rocket feels. Not only does this song take place shortly after Rocket is dwelling on his past traumatic experiences of being made in his upbringing, but it's also a perfect song because the song lyrics literally explain exactly how Rocket feels. He feels like a monster who just does not belong, feeling like everyone in his life has always looked at him in disgust, and it's a huge reason why he continues to push so many people away. And I have gone into depth about Rocket in a video before, which I will put a card for in the top right, so if you want to check that out, you can. But yeah, this song is just a perfect choice. It's bitter, it's depressing, and captures exactly how Rocket feels and how many of us do sometimes. James Gunn chose a perfect track here, and I cannot express that enough. Not only does it set the tone for the rest of the movie, considering it's a much more dramatic tone compared to the previous two films, but it's also just a great song to represent how Rocket feels, especially with Rocket being the main character. It just hits even harder. The next song is Crazy on You by Heart. Let's be real, this was probably chosen only for Adam Warlock's entrance, because I mean it does go hard as fuck, if I'm being honest. Since You've Been Gone, yeah, this song occurs right after we see Rocket unconscious. The song is literally about dreaming. With Graham Bonnet specifically saying, "I get the same old dreams, same time every night," in which we're practically seeing those dreams come to fruition. Not only are they the rare but great memories of Rocket's past, but this song helps us imagine that this is probably what helps him sleep. This is most likely what he dreams about every single night. Teefs, Floor, and Lila all being a part of some of the happiest moments in his entire lifetime, in quite possibly the worst situations and conditions. It's just so tragic to see how much fun they're having because of the reality of the situation that they're in. I just love the use of this song. It's kind of like bittersweet. It kind of makes you like happy for them playing, but like you're kind of sad because you're like, I mean, like they're locked up and being experimented on. And with the song lyrics going about dreaming and, you know, the good times in your life with Rocket being unconscious at the same time. It just hits so hard, especially on rewatch, and you kind of have time to take in these songs and what they mean. I mean, James Gunn does a great job once again at just implementing the songs and the screenplay together. This next song in the film comes shortly after Rocket figures out the problem that High Evolutionary wasn't intelligent enough to solve, and it's In the Meantime by Spacehog. I think the music itself was chosen due to its intergalactic feel, which goes with the scene extremely well, but the song also says, and in the end, we shall achieve in time the thing they call divine, when all the stars will smile for me, which I think foreshadows the conclusion of this entire film and the Guardians as a whole, saving the universe from a threat that could have destroyed many lives, the stars being the space they live in. Smiling for our Guardians who have done so much for this galaxy. It's simple yet touching. It also captures the space opera that has always been the Guardians movies. It's such a good choice, especially when it comes in. You just get this very space feel, and with like the colored suits and them jumping out of the spaceship, it's all just a well crafted scene. The music's cut up perfectly. It's just really good. This song takes place when the Guardians infiltrate 𝙎𝙀𝙚 and are escaping. And to be honest, Reasons by Earth, Wind & Fire is probably the weakest needle drop in this film, at least for me. But it wasn't a bad choice at all or anything. I mean, the song literally says the reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. Which is, I mean, it couldn't be more self-explanatory if it could. The Guardians are literally at 𝙎𝙀𝙚 for a reason of fear, fearing for Rocket's life, and those feelings won't ever disappear. This family loves each other through thick and thin, and this song represents that. It's a beautiful track that adds to the fun that this scene has. I just think personally how it blends with the rest of the music in here just isn't the best, but it's so far from a bad choice. It's still a fantastic track, and the way it's used is still amazing. This one hurts, specifically for Star-Lord. I've obviously acknowledged in the past about how Gunn uses diegetic music, and in this case, it's used extremely effectively. For one, this song takes place right after Gamora and Peter have a very serious argument. Gamora makes it clear that she is not in love with Peter anymore, and she's not that version that was. She practically breaks his heart in this. The lyrics within this track are so poetic to how Peter currently feels after that argument. Do you realize that you have the most beautiful face? Do you realize that we're floating in space? In this scene, we are sitting with Peter literally floating in space. Peter's also recovering from this heartbreak that doesn't feel completely motivated, but he's still conflicted because of his past relationship with a different version of Gamora. And when you add that with the lyrics plus the tone of the track, it just really helps us understand the feelings that Peter has in this scene. It's very sad because before this, they obviously talked on the 𝙎𝙀𝙚 planet, and then after this argument, it just really feels like Peter's lost everything. And I do like the arc that he has in this film, but I think this song very much represents a state of mind that he was at one point in this movie that was very important, but also very tragic, and it really hurt him. This one's pretty simple, and I do love this track. But this song just foreshadows the events that end up taking place on Counter-Earth. The song lyrics is literally about disasters, fires, floods, and killer bees, about Los Angeles falling in the sea, corresponding with obviously 𝙎𝙬𝙚𝙚's choice to end up destroying this world, that being Counter-Earth, and also those disasters, those fires, and the Los Angeles falling in the sea is more or less Counter-Earth being completely decimated by this inhumane, annoying, heartless, disgusting piece of shit. I don't know if this song had any interior meaning really, but I tried to find some. It plays when Nebula, Peter, and Groot are on their way to meet 𝙎𝙬𝙚. I'm always chasing rainbows, watching clouds drifting by. My schemes are just like all my dreams ending in the sky. This could just be referencing them literally chasing someone, the rainbow being 𝙎𝙬𝙚, and we even see Nebula looking out the window while driving, which to me is her watching clouds drifting by. But the second part of this chorus seems to be a reference to Rocket, obviously constantly having the dreams to go fly with his friends into the forever and beautiful sky. It's something kind of heartwarming but sad. And I would say most of the music here does give a very melancholic and bittersweet feeling, but this one just hits different. Gamora plays it after literally talking to Rocket while he's unconscious, and it's just beautiful. I've already had multiple people tell me that this is actually their favorite needle drop in the entire movie, and you know what? I wouldn't call them crazy. I actually wouldn't debate them at all. I mean, the song is a beautiful song, but it's also a beautiful choice representing not only the 𝙎𝙬𝙚's Counter-Earth, but obviously Rocket. And I think those two contrasts at hand, especially being the main protagonists and antagonists, kind of make it poetic. The first part of this track that plays in this scene is the chorus once Gamora turns the ship on. The chorus reads, "Well, I've been in love with love, and the idea of something binding us together, you know that love is strong enough." And when she takes off, the very beginning of the pre-chorus plays, and the lyrics in the pre-chorus are, "Do you feel the love? I feel the love. Come on, let's start it up. Let it pour out of your soul." I mean, this is just beautiful. And after letting the situation they're all in sink in, and her look through some of Peter's past, I think she is feeling that love in this moment, finally understanding that what she's doing is not only for the betterment of the entire galaxy, but for herself as well. She may not feel love towards the Guardians, but she now understands their love, and she lets all this love that she's acknowledged and possibly built up pour out of her soul. At the beginning of the film, she couldn't care any less of this raccoon she's never met or any of these people, and the only reason she even remotely cares about someone is Nebula, and that's only because they're related. But by this point of the film, she stands on a completely different side. She's carrying Rocket and takes off with the ship, not even knowing how to fly it, because she now feels that love. She realizes the chance of being in a found family that cares about her, even though she has no clue who some of them are. It's actually quite touching when you think about it, and I'm actually getting choked up just talking about it. This is easily my favorite needle drop in the entire film, and for good reason. After Groot, Star-Lord, and Gamora got Rocket's reboot card and then rebooted him, they get ready to save Mantis, Drax, and Nebula. And then we get this scene.
You almost have to admire their pluck.
Sire.
Howdy there, you freaking creep.
This scene sent chills down my entire spine. The music was able to build up excitement and also curiosity. We have no clue what's about to go down or how this is going to go. But what we do know is that this family cares so much for each other that they're willing to put their own lives on the line to save one another. The main part of this song is clearly the chorus, but the first verse plays before it, and the first verse says, "Well, you didn't wake up this morning because you didn't go to bed. You were watching the whites of your eyes turn red. The calendar on your wall is ticking the days off. You've been reading some old letters. You smile and think how much you've changed." I mean, these lyrics are basically a countdown, a build-up, but also dwells on the past, seeing how far you've come. And that's very important because the chorus plays shortly after this, and that says, "You pull back the curtains and the sun burns into your eyes. You watch a plane flying across the clear blue sky." This is basically a theme for the Guardians, which I'll get to shortly, but it's also a theme for Rocket more specifically. This first half that plays is literally about watching planes flying across the clear blue sky, which is very reminiscent of when Rocket first saw the sky, wanting to fly in it forever, which I'd say he's managed to accomplish. Concept art confirmed that Rocket also built the Bowie, which is their new ship, and it just adds to how much more Rocket was able to achieve the things that he set out to do with his friends. And then the second half of the chorus plays, saying, "This is the day your life will surely change. This is the day when things fall into place." This is sort of the theme for all the Guardians. With all the running they've done, Star-Lord running from his family, Nebula and Gamora from Thanos, Groot from his home species, Mantis from Ego, and Drax from his fatherhood, this was the day all their lives changed. This was the day Rocket decided to stand up to his creator instead of running or being scared from him. All of them deciding to take on such a galactic threat to give them
a chance.
To do what?
To give a shit. For once. Not run away.
It's such a great choice of music that presents the current situation while also foreshadowing the status of this family by the end of the film. This is the day when things finally fall into place. It's the day that opens their eyes, lets them recognize the explorations of their life that they were once running from and missing. Peter going back to the family that he ran away from, Rocket leading the team that he always wanted, Nebula becoming a force for good, Drax embracing his fatherhood, Mantis finding her place in this universe, Gamora knowing she has a second family out there in the universe that cares for her just as much as any other that she considers. And Groot, well, Groot is just extremely loyal, and I love that about him, especially in this film. Yeah, we all know why this song was chosen. Let's be real. I think honestly this song was used to match the kinetic energy of the action sequence that followed rather than have any deeper meaning. Although it was diegetic, this shit went so hard though. Y'all can't even lie. Like, look at this shit. But after all of this, after this huge journey across 3 movies and over 9 years, this family comes to terms with themselves. We get the final needle drop of the film, Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. And talk about a perfect choice. James Gunn has spoken before that out of all the tracks on this track list, this song was always locked in and was never going to change. And you can definitely feel that. The lyrics, the tonality of the song paired with such a bittersweet conclusion, everything about this scene is nothing short of perfection. It's choking me up just skimming through the scene. The song itself is called Dog Days Are Over. I mean, like, the title itself represents the Guardians. It's such a melancholic theme that blends so well with this family saying goodbye while embracing the future. I feel like as if at this point I don't even need to explain why this song is so perfect for this ending. The Guardians have had a long ride, almost a decade of seeing this family face the music and go through the good and bad. They mean a lot to many of us, and while it is heartbreaking to see them go off in their separate ways, don't be sad that it's over. Be glad that it happened. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're still wondering why the song Dog Days Are Over fits so well with this conclusion and this ending, I'm just gonna end this video off with an edit that captures it perfectly.
Set it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.